Yeah!
Oh, The Last of Us, known for his comedy.
Okay, let's go.
I am inevitable.
You have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy.
I'm totally Batman.
Oh, man.
Shh. Communing with the earth spirits.
Welcome to California, bud.
Cowabunga.
And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
You haven't seen the world, so you don't know. You keep going for family.
I'm not family.
No? You're cargo.
Why are you so important?
Somewhere out west, they're working on a cure. I think what really impressed them was the fact that I didn't turn into a monster.
If she so much as twitches, don't.
Okay.
If I'm taking you with me, you do what I say when I say it. You got any advice on the best way west?
Yeah, go east. If you come this far, then you know what's out there.
You're not gonna scare us.
You scared him?
You have a greater purpose than any of us could have ever imagined.
Be careful who you put your faith in.
It might not be her father, but you were someone's.
You trust me?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. This week, we're talking about the new HBO show, The Last of Us, episodes 1 through 5. We're catching up around mid-season, so then we can talk about it week by week. But in the meantime, we got to catch up. This is your host, Trevor, and joining me as usual is...
Hey, guys, this is Prague.
And this is Alexander Wolfgang. I just learned something new that we're going to start doing this week by week. I love the idea, by the way. Which...
Hot show.
We had to binge, or at least I had to binge this show to catch up with you guys. You guys were pretty much caught up with the show.
Oh, no, I was catching up. I was going to wait to watch this in March.
Okay.
But here we are.
Man, but here we are.
The show blew up and we decided to talk about it.
And you know what? I feel like we're better off now for watching it.
Right. We are better humans.
Walking Dead reboot. Love this. Now, where do we start?
Well, how we always start when we do these things, right? We always start off with our spoiler-free review, just kind of give our feel for if it's worth your time, and then we spoil everything.
Yeah.
All of it.
We got to find out our fun guy takes of what this show's going.
There it is.
Our fun guy takes.
You know, I wasn't going to do that because that was kind of like low-hanging fruit, but you did it, and I
Those are the best kinds of fruit. I'm not going to climb up the tree.
That's fair.
Someone's as lazy as the rest of us.
Indeed.
As the last of us.
Yeah.
Well, who wants to go first then? Because we've got 5 episodes to go through, so we might as well
there's a lot to kind of
get on.
I think you can form an opinion through 5 episodes, because with any show it comes down to how will it stick the landing. But I think through 5 episodes we can form a pretty good opinion.
Right. No, I guess I can go first because I did actually watch this week to week. So I think my opinion might be different than yours because of that, because there's like all that anticipation that builds up in between episodes. There's a lot of talk and discussion and hype. So maybe, I don't know. My spoiler-free review is I think that obviously this is probably the best video game adaptation I have seen. Well done, right? I really like this show. I think that the strongest points of this show is the storytelling. I think this is some of the best storytelling I've seen on TV in a long time. And part of me, and like you mentioned just a minute ago, The Walking Dead, I had that in the back of my head the whole time I was watching the show because I had watched almost the entirety of that series. So every time I watch a show like this, I'm always trying to compare it to The Walking Dead. So there are some things about this show that are reminiscent, unfortunately, of The Walking Dead. But there are many things that I think that this show does far, far better than The Walking Dead. But to me, this feels a lot like The Walking Dead Season 1, which was directed by Frank Darabont, and I thought was kind of the best of all the seasons, really. Because there's all that character development and storytelling, which we see here. So I don't know. I'm really impressed by this show. It took me, I think, a second viewing of the first episode to really enjoy it as much, I think, as other people were enjoying it. But I still really appreciate what they're doing, and there's a lot of great acting in this show, which I think is another aspect of the show that I really enjoy. Do I think it's worth your time? Absolutely. It's hot right now, so it'd be fun. I mean, it's not like it's a dredge. At least I don't think so. Watching it week to week, I don't think it's a dredge to watch. So thoroughly enjoy it. Nice. Thumbs up.
Ooh, adding a little thumbs up in there.
Yes.
Well, so did you guys play the game?
I did play the game.
And I did not.
You did not.
I know the major story points, the major plot points from the game because it's been spoiled in pop culture. So I kind of know some of the things that have happened. Not everything, but some of the things.
Okay.
That's it. I don't really know much else. Just bare bones.
So myself, I never played the game. So I had nothing to base this off of. I know that there was based on a video game, and watching the show, you can see where there was video game moments. Like I was like,
yes,
I could see this scene being in the video game. I could see the movements, what you're going to have to do in a video game for this scene or XYZ. Now, I have a different view of this show being a father of a 2-year-old. I think that being a parent, it changes the way you look at the show a little bit. I felt like it was kind of a hard show to watch because they really don't hold back, and they show a lot that I'm not used to seeing on shows like this, really. Even Walking Dead tried to touch on certain things. And I don't want to get too much into spoilers, but I'm just saying, just in general, like there's certain things that are hard to
tough to watch. Sure.
But like you said, the storytelling is just top notch with this show. And we'll definitely get into it, but I mean, I know that I was joking around during the pre-show, pre-show.
No, you?
I was joking around saying that it was one of the best love stories I had ever seen. And I mean, it definitely holds up. There's definitely a love story that we'll get to that I still almost think it might be one of the better ones I think I've ever seen. It is that good. Anyways, for me, it's definitely a watch. It's definitely something that I look forward to. Yeah, and I took some notes too, so that's different.
Nice.
I mean, I'm not going to come and say, I'm not going to contradict you guys at all because that would just be fake. So the show is outstanding. Having played the video game, I will admit that I don't remember. The game came out in 2013, and that's when I played it. A lot has happened in those 10 years. So I don't remember the full, I remember the overarching narrative, but I don't remember the details. But it is fun when you do see particular scenes. It's like that cut scene, I've seen it from the game, and they're just reenacting it in live action. That's really neat. Or you see like a certain setting. It's like, I know that setting. I died a whole bunch during that setting.
Right. It got burned into my memory. Yeah.
And there's fun little homages to the game throughout, but whether you've played the game or not, it's irrelevant. It's great as a source material for them to use something because the creators of the game really took their due diligence to make this as really sounding as possible, because creating a zombie apocalypse is tough. It's really tough to actually create it and scientifically make sense. This has fun with scientific facts, but I do like that they at least tried to base it in some kind of exists in some ecological system, and they go out of their ways to prove that at the start of 1 and 2. But I think the biggest takeaway for the show, to Brog's point, is the acting, storytelling, as well as the pacing. It feels like the time flies by. We watch shows that it's tough to get through, or there's these slow parts. You're just like, oh, and there's going to be these uneven parts. And this show does a really good job where we get the clickers, and it's really tense sequences. But then when they're not on screen, it's not like, oh, we got to wait and it's slow time until we get there. Because then it goes into any kind of these apocalypse sequences where it's the people. People are always the biggest threat. It's not whatever is the zombie or the apocalypse or the monsters. It's always how people interact with one another when everything goes to hell. And that's...
We're the monsters.
The best part of this show, and that's the sequences in between that really make it stand out. So hopefully you are watching the show already. If not, catch up on all 5 episodes, and it's going to be really fun on Mondays or even Sunday nights to talk with people as the show comes out, as it goes through 9 episodes.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Wow. Yeah. And like you said, I love that you said it's hard to make a good zombie apocalypse show or movie nowadays, because the way that we know it at this point, we've had almost 2 decades of zombie apocalypse movies where it kind of got beat to death for a while, where we were just like, I'm kind of done with zombie movies at this point. And now it's almost like a resurgence of it all. I mean, it granted in a totally different way that I would have never even expected. So pretty cool stuff. Anyways, let's get into some socials. Make sure to check us out over on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Make sure to go over there, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, man, because we just hosted a giveaway recently, and I got to send out the giveaway. The person who won did get back to me. So Excellent job there. I didn't want to name any names just in case they didn't want to be named online. But we got another giveaway coming up very, very soon. I have more stuff that I want to send out. Anyways, whenever you're over on YouTube, like and subscribe. If to enter into any of our giveaways, go to iTunes. Is iTunes still a thing? Apple Podcasts. That's what it is. Apple Podcasts. Log into your Apple Podcasts. Listen to us, because, I mean, how else are you listening? Good Lord. Is there any other way? Go on to Apple Podcasts and make sure to leave a 5-star review. Actually, just leave a review as well. That's how you're going to be entered into these giveaways. You can pretty much leave a review at any time, and it doesn't matter when. You are going to be entered. So hopefully you're already subscribed and doing all that stuff. Just remember, all this stuff, it's free for you, priceless to us. Beautiful.
Awesome.
Let's get into this. Spooky spoilers.
If you do follow us on social, it will help you keep up to tabs with us talking about episodes 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that's going to be fun week by week.
There's Bill in the bunker down there. What's he doing? Spying on us.
See, if you're watching on YouTube, this looks great.
Oh, yeah. It's fun times
Right.
here.
That's a description.
Okay, please.
Woo! All right, so now
Let's
we're going
do
to
this.
spoil this stuff, baby.
Yeah,
So
we
if
are.
you have not seen any of the first 5 episodes, we're going to jump around all 5 of them. So if you've seen like 1 through 4, we're probably going to spoil 5 as well. So just keep that in mind. We're spoiling all of it. This isn't part-time spoiling. Full-time spoils.
Part-time spoiling here. Bill and Frank definitely do die. So does Sam and Henry. So, just saying.
Oh.
And Tess. There you go. All the spoilers out right away.
Sam and Henry.
Bam, bam,
Who
bam.
are they?
Uh-oh. Did you not watch episode 5, Alex?
Oh, yes. Okay, Sam and Henry. They were
He just
such
doesn't
a
know
little...
people's names.
Dude, I don't know people's names, but now I remember who they are. honestly, man, talk about full-on side quest. Episode 5. Oh, let's go through Kansas City to do this side quest. Anyways,
It's part of the game. It's part of the storytelling, Alex.
I know.
Endure and survive.
And it's good.
Endure and survive. Aren't those like the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a dumb title.
It's
kind of redundant.
Redundancies.
By the way, Pedro Pascal's line delivery sometimes is just so darn good. I've never heard anyone quite do it like him. It's pretty fantastic.
How do you mean?
Very dry humor. Just very dry.
Okay.
Just the way he talks. If you listen to like how he pronounces things, probably because it's not his native accent, it's fantastic. I really enjoy it.
Well, he's supposed to be a Texan, right? It's supposed to be
right.
Yeah, good old boy Texan.
It doesn't always sound Texan though.
His voice changes to having some like Southern Texas flair, and then sometimes he'll sound just like the Mandalorian, like beat for beat.
Yep.
And it's like, what's happening? Oh,
so
that's not the show.
I alluded to this in the spoiler free, but I'm gonna jump back into it because this was pretty much what made this show hard for me to watch. Is they show a lot of children death in this show, and to me, I'm not used to seeing kids dying. And as a dad
you need to watch
now,
more horror films, sir.
Oh my God, no. If it has, I have such a
Dr.
hard
Sleep
time
has a great scene with the baseball boy. Whew. That's good stuff. That's good horror.
Here's the thing. Okay, Walking Dead, they did. Oh, I'm losing internet, aren't I? Anyways, Walking Dead. The only time that I really saw like a child death, they didn't even. It was the kid was already a zombie, so it was like, okay, that the kid's already a zombie. I understand what they've got to do at that point.
You had to look at the flowers scene. I don't know if they actually showed that though. I think that was off screen. Anyways.
But on this show, and granted, it's all about the writing with this. They make you fall in love with
every
Pedro
character.
Pascal's kid. Every character. Oh my God, every character.
It's like you have 5 seconds of screen time. Like, oh my God, I love this character now. What is happening?
Yes. But except for the main girl, I'll get into that later. I'm not a huge fan of her. But anyways, like the first episode is practically the first 25 to 30 minutes is all about this little girl. All about this, she's 12 or 13 years old. And you fall in love with her. She's such a sweet little girl. She's doing things for her dad. And then you see the fear in her eyes and you see the fear wash over her like, oh my God, what is happening? How are we going to get out of this? And then you see her die. Unbelievable, man. Like
crazy opening.
I was actually going to text you guys and be like, F off you two. I'm not watching this show. Because
I'm glad you stuck around.
Not even right after that, almost instantly after that, they kill another little kid. And I'm like, 2 kids in 45 minutes. You're just murdering children. I had a really tough time with the first episode.
It's a tough one.
To Kathleen's point, kids die. Kids die all the time.
Oh, I hated her too. I hated her.
Kids die.
Her line delivery there was hilarious. Like the woman who played Kathleen was her name?
Yeah. That's Melanie Linsky. She's fantastic.
I thought that she was a terrible choice for that.
I thought it was great. She's like a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah, all I could see was, what is it? The 2.5 Men. That's the only thing I've ever seen her in. So all I'm imagining is that character.
It's her from that, yeah.
Yes. Anyways, sorry. That was a little tangent for you guys.
No, what's really good though about that open is that part of the video game is what gets you hooked, where you have to get out of Texas the day that it happens. And having the plane crash in the background, like they depicted it so well in live action. Like it's one thing to animate it in a video game. To be able to then have it relatively realistic with all people just scrambling around trying to drive through them, and you have the military there and the plane crashing in the background. It's just really, really well shot and well done.
That was a great scene. Very intense scene too, like really well
Very
done,
intense.
I thought.
Yeah, I mean it all starts at the very beginning though. I put a mark in my notes. the old lady where she's blurred out in the background.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And you see her. I was like, that is just so good.
I'm like, oh my god,
good cinematography.
That was great. Yeah, the fact that they blurred her out made it more creepy. Had
Yes,
she been
so
in
much
focus, it
creepier.
would not be creepy at all.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, what the hell? What's going on? What? And she probably had the tendrils coming out of her mouth at that point. We just couldn't see them because they're blurred. Possibly. Ugh.
I had a really tough time believing that even with being fungally in whatever she is, she's infected, that she would still be able to get up and sprint across the yard.
Well, I'm sure if the fungus has kind of infiltrated your neural system, it would correct everything that was the matter with her.
It must.
Not only that,
it must do that.
Yeah,
it's
that's my
also.
assumption.
I feel if it's a pain thing as well, if the fungus impacts your nervous center to not feel pain, I feel like you'd be more capable, no matter who you were.
Right,
If
they're
you took
running
away
into things.
Extreme pain, then you could do a lot more. Pain is a very hesitancy to a lot of things that we do in life.
Right, but if you've been stuck to a wheelchair for the last 30 years, let's say.
I mean, you could argue there'd be atrophy for all the limbs.
Right.
Right. That's where I'm getting at, is I'm doubting that this elderly 90-year-old woman is going to get up and start sprinting around. Her muscles are probably like spaghetti strings.
But it's fun.
Okay, yes, it is fun. I
Definitely
know.
I'm like, I just don't care.
I mean, like the very opening
grandmas
itself.
are great.
Just where the scientist is in 1968 and he references the ant, which hopefully
Love
people have
that.
seen that episode of Planet Earth where they show it in visceral
It's great.
detail. That part is really sad. Actually, Planet Earth itself is just sad. That's one
It
of the
is.
saddest shows there is. I
love
don't
it,
care what
though.
anybody says. But
Own 'em all
that
in 4K,
ant
baby.
reference, it's really interesting where it beats around the idea that, hey, guys, you know how we just went through a pandemic? Imagine a pandemic where you couldn't cure it because we don't have any way to fight fungus versus a viral or bacterial infection. It's just a really fun way to position the audience to wrap your mind around what we just went through, but think of a way that there's no real fix on the horizon. It's a leap to act like that this type of thing could happen as quickly as it does. That's the biggest thing, that it happens in 24 hours. If there was some type of thing that was in the baked goods supply, if it would have to be unbaked for it to survive, because even if it can survive in the human body, it usually dies at 94 degrees. It's evolved due to climate change, so now it can handle the human body temperature at 98.6. It's not going to be handling being in the oven at 350 or 400 degrees to be baked into a loaf of bread or any kind of thing. So it'd have to be unprocessed flour. So it'd be really tough for it to happen all at once.
It would.
That's true. Yeah.
But
Wow.
also, it's worth noting that the reason ants are infected is because ants don't need the immune system that humans do, because there's not as many things to get infected. People like to take the human body for granted, but it's a very, very intricate contraption with a lot of parts to potentially get infected. And our skin, even though people are like, oh, you just get shot or stabbed, skin's not that tough. Think of all of the things your skin keeps out. Ants don't have those protections. When that fungus reaches its skin, it pretty much just goes through its bloodstream.
Yeah.
So we're not ants,
Wow.
okay?
And
So we're good. We're good.
Don't take human body for granted, okay?
Goodness gracious.
I don't. That's why I call it a temple. This temple.
But
Anyways,
that's a fun start for the audience. It's a really fun start for the audience. And the main distinction between the game is they set this show in 2023. The game is actually set in 2033. So they wanted to specifically make that this could happen tomorrow, not some future sci-fi apocalypse.
The game it's the game, but the show starts in 2003 and it's in 2013. Yeah.
No, it's 2023. It's 20 years later.
20 years later?
It's
Yeah, they
present
start
day.
in 2003 and they make it.
Did you
for
not see the
present
title
day.
card that said 20 years later? You're probably
I
crying.
don't. What I was
It died.
probably still crying because all of a sudden there's another child that I'm going to be deathly worried about that's going to get murdered in the next 5 minutes. I actually wrote in my notes, I'd rather this happen in 2003 because 2003 me, I feel would have a much easier time handling all this stuff, being like straight out of high school and like, okay, oh well, zombie apocalypse, bummer on me. Now now I've got people that I have to look out for. I have people that I have to care for and protect.
That sounds very much like episode 3.
Yes.
That's
what changes the apocalypse.
My lovers.
Yeah.
Lover.
Bill and Frank.
Lover. Oh boy.
Oh, 20
Bill
years
and
later
Frank.
is interesting.
That's what we're talking
Just that.
No, I know.
Joel is now 56 because we do know that his birthday is the day that this all goes haywire. Right. And he was turned 36, so he's 56. But it also means that Ellie was born after this started. And it's really interesting to have a character completely developed in the apocalypse.
Oh, I love that. I love the whole scene of her getting in the truck and like she's like, it feels like I'm in a spaceship, and it's like a Toyota Tundra.
It was a Chevy. What was it? What did he say? Call it?
I don't even
crap
know.
Is what he said. But
well, it looked like it was from 2003. It looked like something that kids in high school drove around. But yeah, and then the seatbelt. Hey, put on your seatbelt.
And she's like looking at him like, what?
What are you talking about? Like, dude,
what are you grabbing?
I loved it. I thought that was so clever and fun.
So, Trevor, are you thinking that she probably wouldn't be developed the way she would be in an apocalypse as an apocalypse?
No, I just think it's like we don't usually get that type of character development for someone who's born after the apocalypse.
Okay, I got you.
In any apocalypse-based things, it's always what I missed out on, or comparing it to this. There's always a point to compare to that she doesn't have a comparison point.
That's true. I'm thinking Judith Grimes is probably the only other character I can think of in pop culture that would have been born after an apocalypse. And she was done well too, I think. Yeah, so I like Ellie. So her character development I thought was pretty good.
It took 47 minutes to meet her in the first episode, which I thought was really interesting. I had to make note of how long they were going to take to introduce one of the main characters.
I mean, that's almost the end of a regular episode. But this episode, the first episode was quite long. It was like an hour and a half, I believe. So a little bit longer than a normal episode of television. Which makes sense since you had that big opening scene, like half an hour long pre-scene. Prologue, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's the hook. It got me. Got us all, man.
Do you think there would be that many bodies to burn 20 years later? Like, when we first meet Joel 20 years later, there are just all kinds of bodies they're burning. I don't know if you get 50 people a day to burn.
I don't know.
I mean, unless people on the inside are getting...
Infected?
The people who... Well, not even infected. I mean, people are going to be dying every day. People are going to be still getting born
because you're
every
living
day.
in an apocalypse.
Right.
Sure, and you want to make sure those bodies are burned, not buried. So come back up the earth.
Like, I mean, think about every city, every hospital in every city. They probably have a good 100 people die a day.
That's true. You got to think about how many people are out there that probably were just dead and maybe not taken over too. I don't know.
Right.
It's a good point to bring up, though. I'm not too sure.
20 years is a long time.
It is a long time.
I got a buddy who, hey, Brent Brown, if you're out there listening, this one's for you. He's always telling me, he's a doctor. He's always telling me that he works in like the ER, and he's like, oh, had a patient almost die on me today. It's like, damn, dude. Wow. And he's keeping people alive every day. It's amazing. So
shout out to doctors.
Doctors?
My stepmom's a doctor, and yeah, she's seen some stuff.
It's wild, man. He's got story. I mean, I don't know how much I can say, but
let's not then.
No. I'm just kidding. But no, it's just wild. But I do have a couple notes that I wanted to just kind of go. Like in episode 2, sure. They ask someone what we should do about the spread, and in my head I was expecting someone to just say pray, but no, they said bomb the city. And I'm like, wow.
Yep. That was great.
Whoa.
One word, bomb. The guy's face is great too. He's like, oh my God.
I do like going to Jakarta too, because they referenced Jakarta in the first episode.
Yeah, like just briefly, right, in that radio.
Yeah.
There's like, where's Jakarta? That was great. I like how every episode kind of does that. Like every episode has stuff from the previous episode that they mentioned. It's like something will be mentioned, you kind of like either half pay attention to or even forget about it, but then it gets brought up later and expanded upon. So I thought that was really neat. That happens almost every episode. So much appreciated there, storytelling wise.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I also liked the throwaway line where they say, if you've been in a rebellion for 20 years, it's not a rebellion. And I was like, in Star Wars, it takes them a lot longer than 20 years. If they would have just gave up, they would have never even had Luke have any relevancy at all. It's been too long. Done.
Oh, let them keep going. This is not too bad.
So
I mean, it looks like a moon. That's nice.
That's kind of interesting, and I want to say it was episode 5 that the rebellion takes over the Fedra.
Right.
Fedra is
Kansas
kind
City.
of the in Kansas City. Fedra is kind of the government in a way, trying to, I guess, take care of people. And then the rebellion takes over, and I mean, that was horrifying.
Well, they're just as bad. Like that. Was
they
the
are
whole point.
just as bad. So in turn, is the rebellion in Star Wars still? I mean, they're just as bad, right?
Could watch Andor.
Maybe I'll have to watch Andor.
I mean, even without watching Andor, you see that people hate the new trilogy, but Force Awakens shows that nothing really changed. They changed the who, but the what was exactly the same. Because Rebellion's only plan to overthrow. They don't have a follow-up. Now what?
Yeah. Everything's all apart. Oh, poop. Okay.
Anyways, we're not talking Star Wars. We always derail with stuff like
but
this.
No, it does tie into episode 5 because they threw him over Fedra like 5 days ago or something. And they're like, oh, Fedra pushed all the infected underground. And they didn't think that, hey, maybe this is an issue we should probably take care of. And
yeah, there's like, oh, we're just going to forget about it, right?
That's their downfall. It's literally their downfall because, and it didn't take long.
Yeah. She said, don't worry about it right now. It's not her
We
number
got
one
more
priority.
important things to do.
Not her number one priority. The number one priority was this kid. Was this? I mean, he was what? 18 years old.
Maybe. Yeah.
He was 18, maybe, with an even younger kid with him, an 8-year-old. Oh my God, that kid was cute, man. And I knew it right once I saw that kid. I'm sitting there going, not
like he's too cute.
Kid.
He's gonna die. All
not
right.
Another kid, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't kill another kid, man. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I had such hope when the girl slices her hand and says, "My blood is medicine."
Oh, I'm like, that's not how this works.
I was like, I guess this is believable.
That's cute.
I'm like, I
That's nice of Ellie
sure
to
hope it
offer
works.
that.
Oh God. And then he's like, could you just stay up with me? And I'm like, oh, this is just like heartbreaking, man. Everything about this show is heartbreaking.
Yes.
So
this show's designed to do that.
I don't know if I'm super jaded or what it is, but I feel like heartbreaking is an interesting way because I know what the writers are aiming for. I see, the story points.
You can't see it, right?
But I feel like within the apocalypse, I don't have the same tragedy just because it's situational decisions and choices that cause problems that is extreme. I felt like when the Frank and Bill storyline, up until when they're very old, it's going through the motions. I was like, man, this episode was hyped up a lot. It's the last arc where he dies from a natural cause that it really hits home because a lot of sorrow and pain that you see in shows, you internalize it and that's what makes it real. You don't necessarily be like, random character that I met an hour ago. Oh no. It's more like, what if that happened to somebody I loved? Or what if I was in those shoes? And it's tougher to put yourself in those shoes when it's fungus zombie biting your throat. And I get they did a really good job. Like I definitely feel it, but I don't think I would feel it as much if it was the same exact scenario set in like present time under present conditions.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
But that's just me.
I can see that.
I
agree with the whole aspect of like I don't think I was as emotional. Like I shouldn't say I wasn't emotionally attached to the characters. It was the deaths, like the deaths of everyone except for Bill and Frank. I thought weren't as powerful because I think you're right. It felt like it was more like, what if it happened to me and my loved ones? Like, what would I do? How would I react? How would that feel? Like it was
how
more
would
natural.
I react kind of thing.
Right. So it felt more powerful to me. I think that's why that episode hit home with a lot of people more than the others.
I can agree with that because yes, the little boy, the Sam dying because he got bit, that understandable. But first episode, 13-year-old girl getting shot in the stomach. And then you have nothing you can do to help her. Like
no, nothing.
That's something that's happening right now outside of our doors, man. Like people are being shot every day. Kids are being shot every day. And it's a terrible thing that's happening right now. And I hate it because I worry every day with my kid. I drop her off at daycare and I sit there and I worry about her all day long because no, that's what it is.
Right. I know.
And I asked my
can't
mom,
do anything.
I talked to my mom about this too. I said, does the worry, do you ever just like calm down for a little bit and just not like worry? The worry never leaves. My mom says that she still worries about me and my sister every day.
Of course.
I mean, that's the crazy thing. If apocalypse happened tomorrow, holy crap, man, I don't know what I would do. All I would have is a machete that's up in my bedroom, and that's what I'm going to use to fend off people.
Right, and I think that this show answers that, or asks that question at least, and sometimes answers it better than The Walking Dead, which is a show that I love. Like, I love in a different way, but I think this show handles that question better. It's more real. It's more like, hey, this, you know, what would you do? What would anyone do? It's pure chaos, man.
It's pure chaos.
And it sets really good decisions for the characters. For, oh, Henry, why did you do this? Oh, my little younger brother, like, why'd you rat out everybody to Federal? Well, my younger brother, deal, who's the only person in my family left, you know, we don't know what about any other extended family, but that's all he's got. He has leukemia. They have the only pills that help him. So I'm going to do anything in my power. And so that begs your question, your last family member remaining, they need something would you sacrifice everything? Would you go against your morals? And does your morals even matter when there's chaos around? Like, what are you holding those morals for?
A bad guy thing, right?
Yeah, a bad guy thing.
A bad guy thing. Yep,
that's a great line.
Oh, it's true though.
It's good scenarios to put characters into. It's just gray area. There's no right or wrong answer because no one's had to be in that kind of situation. We haven't had a zombie apocalypse. As horrible as things are, it's not that bad.
Right, exactly. There's still 8 billion of us on the planet right now, so we're doing okay.
Yes.
Not everything's perfect, but...
So at the end of episode 2, Tess gets bit, and she knows that she needs to... almost make like a blockaded, blow everything up, and with her inside as well, to let Pedro Pascal and the little girl, what's the little girl's name? Ellie?
Joel and Ellie.
Joel and Ellie. Gotta let Joel and Ellie get away.
Two main characters.
We meet a new character every episode.
Still, Joel and Ellie have been consistent in each episode.
Names.
Yeah.
Hey, bud. That's how I introduce. Hey, man. What's up? Yeah. Anyways,
we know.
So at the end of the episode, this one was, yeah.
This one was, yeah.
Sorry, it's terrible to say because it's so gross. She allows one of the zombies to give her a big old fungi kiss in the mouth. I'm sitting there thinking, oh, no. She's got a handful of grenades. As that thing's slowly walking up to you, dude, shove a grenade in the mouth. Don't let that mouth, even though you know you're going to die, you don't need to make out with this thing. Oh, God.
Oh, such a cool scene, though.
And that was
watching the tendrils go into the mouth. And part of me thought like she was obviously overwhelmed and she was being overtaken by the fungus too. So her nervous system was probably shutting down, would be my guess.
Okay.
That was my takeaway from that scene.
Way better
she was
explanation.
Constantly like, what the hell? Shout out to Anna Torv. She was great.
I know.
Way better explanation. Oh god!
But
Because
also
I'm sitting there going, gross, 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 gross.
That's another situation of. It's kind of like the Frank and Bill situation as well. Do you just try to keep fighting, or do you don't want to be one of them? It's much better to blow up, right? And when do you decide to be like, this is time to give up? I've had enough. It's really interesting.
That was actually going to be one of the questions I wanted to bring up to you guys. Was I wanted to know, where would you guys be in this type of world? Would you want to be a survivor?
No, I would have died on the first day. But no, I have no doubt in my mind.
Okay. You would prefer to be dead as well.
I feel like that's a really tough question. It's kind of the Joel question of what are you fighting for? Because Joel has just been fighting for 20 years, just go grinding. His daughter's dead. His relationship with his brother is obviously destroyed. What is he going? What gets him up in the morning to keep going? It's a really tough question of, would you want to be a survivor in this world? You're living for living's sake?
Right. You really are.
At that point,
for most of these people.
Because there's really no hope that, we're going to last long enough and we're going to find somebody who becomes immune to this thing. Like, that doesn't even cross your mind after 20 years. 20 years. Maybe in the first couple weeks, you're like, we're going to figure something out. We have
even Joel doesn't believe
us.
it. Right. It's right in front of him. He doesn't believe it for a while. It's like, this isn't real.
It's tough to be like I get the whole Bill and Frank, like, he had the whole Ron Swanson vibe where I'm a survivalist. I'm just Ron Swanson. I'm playing Ron Swanson. I am Ron Swanson. I'm just going to do all Ron Swanson stuff. And he could have done that for a long time. And his whole perception changes. But that's the thing. What if you do lose everyone right at the start like Joel does?
Yeah, it's a different path, right? Almost two different paths in a way. In the beginning for them. Yeah, what will be the point then, huh? I don't know.
It's tough to ask what is the point.
For myself, if I was in Joel's shoes, I'm pretty sure I would be A-okay with finding the first bullet to the brain. There's no doubt in my mind.
I think I would be too curious. I don't know. I would be too scientifically curious to see what happens.
I think the other antithesis to that is just the amount of stress you're going to put on your body, where you're eating, I don't know, scraps of beef jerky and old cans of stuff. And so your body's going to be super stressed. Like right now, if I don't drink enough water, I'm going to have a headache. I don't know how I'm going to last during an apocalypse. But not only that, just the stress of constantly being in fear. You're in fear of these zombie things biting you. You're in fear of anyone who is left with you. Also, they could be bitten at any time. You're afraid of what your next meal is. You're afraid of the people in power because we obviously see that they rape and pillage their entire things because they're not any type of special people. They're just the people who are in power.
Yeah.
So you're afraid constantly. And I don't know, man.
There's no way I would want to stick around in there. No way. Absolutely. Especially after 20 years. And you're absolutely right. So I actually, right before this show, my wife and I were watching a show called, I think it's called Alone. It's where they take 10 survivalists, they put them in Alaska, and whoever's the last man standing wins $500,000. Now they're all spread apart, so they're not even interacting with each other. So they have to find their own food. They have to build their own shelter. They have to do all this stuff. And within 20 days, they're on starvation level. Like if they're not catching fish or killing a deer or something, they're on starvation level. After 20 years of being in a place where you're having to share scraps, there's no way you're going to be able to lift bodies to throw it onto a fire.
Well, that's not quite true. They're in the QZ, so they did have probably former, military personnel, doctors. They have the society. It's not like they were in the middle of nowhere, so they wouldn't be starving.
But do they? Here's the thing: it's not like the grocery stores are stocked up every week. I mean, food is. But how? How is I mean, is there a farm? Like,
Probably.
they don't show any of that type of stuff. And here's the thing: even if there was a farm, let's just say we're already afraid that the food was contaminated, and that's what started this whole thing. So how are we keeping the food from being contaminated? Anyway, from further blah blah blah, whatever. Never mind.
I think they had 20 years to figure it out. I think they figured out how to rebuild at least somewhat of a society within these QZs.
But there's so much corruption. There's so much corruption. But okay, yeah, never mind.
That's just humanity. No, it's more of like, how did Ron Swanson get all of his meat? How did he keep, like, was he keeping cows somewhere in his little compound?
Well, and that's another thing. If you're, are the deer that they're hunting, like, are the rabbits, did they not get infected? I don't understand.
That's fair, because the human body is going to be one of the toughest to infect, just because we have such a high internal body temperature that other animals don't. So you'd think it would infect, because the fungus just wants to spread itself. It's not like, oh, I'm targeting humans. That doesn't really care.
It's true.
And it really doesn't, the show doesn't show any other animal. Like, I would expect
it does on season 2, episode 2. They show the ducks and the frog in the hotel lobby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I'm sitting here thinking, what a great scene would it be? Oh, my internet. What a great scene yeah, I know. What a great scene it would be if they saw a deer and he's out hunting this deer, and then he just notices that there's big patches of like fungus growing off of it, and he has to put his bow down or put his gun down because he's like, well, I can't eat that. You know, it would be interesting if they played that type of stuff up a little bit.
Also, rabbits and deer, there's a parasite that infects them right now that causes them to grow various
that's right.
things. Like, that's the origin kind of the jackalope. So that's more parasite rather than fungus. But it's really weird that all the other animals are cool and clean and clear.
Right. And everybody's so well fed.
You think everybody'd be relatively gaunt, though.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my. I think if it wasn't for watching that show alone, then I wouldn't have these thoughts.
On the flip side, say there's 8 billion people on Earth, and we have a food supply that does not give food equally around the globe as it should, but there is a lot of food. And if, say, 7 billion people died, maybe 7.5 billion people, maybe 7.9 billion people. I don't know how many people are left on the globe, but there might be a lot of food in compared to how many humans are left. If you count a 20-year-old can of Chef Boyardee as being a possible thing to eat, that could go a long ways.
If you've watched any YouTube video where people eat 20-year-old cans of anything, it never goes well.
Oh no, all these people must have extreme diarrhea all the time. Like when the one guy shows up and he's like, oh yeah, I haven't eaten for 2 days. And then he makes that whole deluxe steak dinner. That's going right through him.
His body's like, what the hell
your
is
stomach's
happening?
can't handle that at all.
Here, let me play you a tune real quick.
Okay.
Sorry, Linda Ronstadt.
The part of the apocalypse they don't talk about. Going to the bathroom.
Anyways, you're right. Let's move on.
Any favorite or least favorite moments for you guys in the show so far?
For me, I'm going to just go for a full-on episode. Episode 3 was my favorite episode.
Okay.
I liked it from start to finish. I enjoyed the characters. I fell in love with the characters. They made you... They sunk you into this relationship so heavily. And I want to say someone on Twitter posted, it's like Up for 50 minutes. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It's like the beginning of Up, right, but for 50 minutes. And I'm like, oh no. And when I read that, I was like, oh no, this is going to be a tough watch for me.
I only disagree with that comparison just because I feel like Up is sadder because they don't speak. There's something in...
I get that, yeah.
There's also the realness of it. Like, she loses her kid, just she has a miscarriage or whatever. Like, it's just growing old together in just sadness, where
like I don't think the
having a
Fringe
good
story
time
is
around
necessarily
you.
sad either. I think it's just a nice portrait of life together.
That's the thing.
They were able to have a full life within the apocalypse, which is quite remarkable.
Yeah. I think that was the most beautiful thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of their walls, it's doom, gloom, and craziness. And here they are. They just want to make the boutique look nice.
Pretty much.
And I'm like...
Frank does. Bill doesn't.
Oh my God.
Boutique.
But you know what? It helps him. It helps him survive the apocalypse by doing stuff like that.
It helps him give incentive to keep going. Because it's that different idea. It goes back to the idea. Where as a survivalist, it's like, I've been training for this my whole life. I've prepared for this. I have a bunker for this. Like, I've already had the mindset to do this, to be like, all you other idiots, I'm better than you. I know what I'm going to do. You know, and it's a different idea to, I don't really have anything to do. I'm just sitting around like, I'm not used to just not doing anything and just sitting in the one place all the time.
But for like an entire apocalypse going down, these two people found each other.
Yeah.
You know, they found love in an apocalypse, which was so beautiful. And
Shout out to Rihanna.
So much.
We found love in a hopeless place.
Oh, that halftime show. Sorry if I'm not gushing about that halftime show like everybody else.
I enjoyed it. I don't know.
Whatever.
Under my umbrella, Ella.
But so I do have a little bit of a funny story about the episode 3.
Okay.
I watched that in bed. My wife had a friend over. She was having a little wine night. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go upstairs. I'll let you girls hang out. I go upstairs and I'm watching it on my phone. My wife comes upstairs.
As God intended.
Like during the height of all of like the death of like where they start dying and stuff. And I'm just bawling my eyes out. I'm sitting there red-faced, tears streaming.
You're like, don't come in the room.
She walks in. No, I was hoping she wouldn't see me.
Right, that's like.
But I'm sitting there going. And she goes, Alex, are you crying? I said, yes, it's a show. I had to press pause and I had to put the phone down. I'm like, it's this show. It's hard to watch. This is so hard to watch. And she goes, okay, well, pull yourself together. And so she goes back downstairs for like 20 more minutes. And she comes back upstairs to go to bed. And she crawls into bed. She goes, Alex, your face is all red. I'm like, I've been crying for the last hour because this show. Oh my God, this damn show is making me cry. Because
sorry we did this to you, Alex.
Dude, after the episode, I kept thinking about it, and I kept thinking about it, and thinking about it, and I just couldn't get. Like, I couldn't get over the hump of it all because it was just, I love love, okay? I love love. And seeing those
there was
people,
a realness to it.
It was so real from start to finish. Episode 3 got me. It got me. So there we go. Okay, I know
Good
that
job,
I went
Last of Us.
Yeah.
A long rant on that one, but...
Well, the one part of that episode I didn't like is that literally... Bill has it down on lock when the Raiders come. He's got them good. And then Frank comes out, and it distracts him just long enough to get shot in the leg. I'm like, dude, just stay in the house.
That was a weird moment, I have to say. I'm like, why even call out his name? Just let him shoot.
Yeah, he was doing just fine.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't even die. It fades to black, and nothing even comes. There's no negative consequence. 10 years later, other guy's dying now. It's like, what is going on?
I think they did that just to do the fake out for the people that weren't
totally
sure what was going to happen next. Like, oh, did
it was
they
just a
kill
weird
Bill?
setup.
But that's the thing. When that happened, though, in my head, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, if that's it, then okay, skating by. This is going to be easy for the rest of the show. Nope. Let's get up together. Let's get each other and wink and have gray hairs and make it so sad.
Make it so sad.
Yeah, no, the end of it's the part. No, the end of it's the part. Like him just getting shot by raiders, that doesn't really have the same sorrow as we're gonna choose to Romeo and we're gonna Romeo and Juliet die together, but we're gonna be fully well aware of killing each other rather than miscommunication killing each other.
Exactly.
I love the note. Don't come into the room. You are not gonna like what you see.
Yeah, very to the point.
But I did like the respect to leave the window open. That's some
totally.
thinking. That's some planning in advance.
So thank you very much.
So I guess they're not worried about animals because crows would have gone into there, or squirrels and wolves would have crawled in there, and
ants
probably.
Ants would have just cleaned them up completely.
Ants are all zombie.
It would have been a
ants
sight, as he said. Yes.
It would have been a sight. Yes.
So glad they did.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say one of my favorite parts though was the garden party. And just all I wrote down in my notes was I missed that part of the game where you have that dialogue choice. Attend garden party.
Attend garden party.
It'll be such a distinct thing in the game. You're just like, you have to go there and sit there.
With a gun on the table.
Yeah.
It would have been a great part of the game. They missed out.
That's fun,
well.
man.
Maybe they'll do a remastered version of it someday. Wouldn't put that back in. I bet they are, actually.
Well, so if you stuck around after the credits, I guess you don't fully meet the partner, and Frank is still alive, and his partner is already dead at that point in the game. This is what they're telling me through this. I don't know.
Oh, the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't actually meet the partner in the game.
You don't meet Frank at all.
Right. So Frank.
Yeah, they had a really bad falling out.
That's all you know, right? Yeah.
That's all you know? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You just meet Bill, and he provides you with the car, and he's super jaded and stubborn and hates the world.
Gotcha. Okay. And that was the interesting thing, is that they said we wanted to actually build on these characters. And if it didn't work, then we would go with the story mode from the game over this. I'm really glad they went with this rather than going off of what the game was, because I'm sure it would.
Yeah, and they didn't just make a live action version of the game. Like the game told their story, but now to take the situation and the characters and make it for TV, it's actually made for TV. It's not just shot by shot. Oh, look, we made a live action version of the video game, and now it's just a walkthrough of that.
Yeah. Sorry, I know that I derailed everything with my whole favorite part. Do you guys have a favorite part or worst part?
Oh, I mean, I would say Bill and Frank is still going to be my favorite too. Especially the strawberry scene. That was such a fun scene.
Oh my god!
I know, with all the spores in the air that they didn't even talk about.
I know, right? They never talked about it.
The big part about the game and the show difference is the spores. Like in the show, it's all about tendrils and biting and all that stuff. In the video game, you have to wear gas masks and everything. And they said the creators didn't want our actors to be behind gas masks during the show.
Yeah,
that's just not good filming. And it's a smart idea. It's a really interesting to see.
It is weird, right? When you see them in the air all the time, like, what's going on? Don't breathe that in. So I would say, yeah, probably that would be my favorite. I don't know if I have a least favorite.
I know. I'm having a hard time figuring out what least favorite scene I've had so far. Actually, no, I take it back. I feel like any scene with the woman from 2.5 Men. I didn't care for
hitting
her.
on my girl?
Yeah, dude. I can't. I don't know. She was
a bold choice. I'll give him
she
that.
wasn't believable for me. I had a hard time believing that she was the leader of a rebellion. I don't know. I just had a hard time with her.
I know. I've seen a lot of people online say that they want Linda Hamilton type of apocalyptic leader if it's going to be a female, and it's very stereotypical, pigeonholed idea of what would actually work in an apocalypse. But also, they then tried to explain it away in the 5th episode that her brother was super charismatic and was the leader. And essentially Henry is the one who gives him up and gets killed, and so it kind of falls to her. But that's
right.
Feels like a cop out of what they tried to establish in episode 4.
A little bit.
So there's a balance to that. But no, I definitely have seen that. Oh, there's no way that would. Who knows? You don't know.
Well,
anyone to presume how it's going to turn out is an idiot. That's fool's errand.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was just unbelievable for me, and I didn't realize that there was actually people out there saying this. I'm not. I like her in her comedic roles. I think
the
she's
actress
great.
had to defend herself. That's all. Which was
really?
sad.
Oh man. Well, now I feel bad. You know what? We're cutting that whole. I'm not cutting this scene out. No,
don't cut it. If you didn't like the character choice, that's fine. That's not like you hated her or anything necessarily.
But her right hand man, that guy seemed like such a BA man. He was like, I don't know. There was something really cool about him. I was like, why couldn't he have been?
Well, he's the soldier guy. He's not the leader guy. Like that's not his.
He doesn't have any plans. Yeah, he has the
exactly. He's good with the gun.
Tell me where to point and shoot.
Yep.
Yeah. Give me direction.
Muscle.
Yeah.
I feel like definitely Bill and Frank is a headliner, but worth mentioning is Ellie finally getting Joel to laugh with the pun book, where she works on him over a few different episodes, but when he finally chuckles, that was pretty great, just because of how much it means to their characters, because she has the pun book in the game, and that's the part they kind of took over to maintain the relationship. It was really good. It was a really good pun too.
I like that.
I knew. I was like, as I'm watching it, I was like, probably loving these.
Oh yeah, I mean, these are all ones I've told before, so they weren't new to me, but I enjoyed them a lot.
Which one was
the diarrhea runs in the family?
Yeah, runs in your genes.
That one.
It runs in your genes.
It's like, that's so freaking stupid. You laugh.
That's what makes it funny.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Oh, that's funny.
I also like when he actually figured out her pun about the scarecrow.
I was standing in a field.
Yeah, he's like,
he got it. And she's like, "What, have you read this before?"
Old one.
Yeah.
The guy who waited for the sun all night, then it dawned on him.
That's a good one too. I like that. But I did enjoy when Tess, Joel, and Ellie were leaving Fedra for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time where I was like, this is a video game. I can see this being played right now. I could see
two buildings collapsed in together. That's a terrible, tough sequence, because it's the one where you really are the first time you have to deal with it. Because the game, it's rather different. It lets the player choose how to play. You can choose to be stealth. Don't get the clicker's attention. You have to move really slow and get through this sequence. It's really tense. You can go guns blazing and try to shoot every single clicker and just get through, but that usually doesn't work because ammo is limited in the apocalypse, and the game actually takes that into account. You don't just have unlimited ammo.
Right.
And it's a fun choice, because some levels you've been sneaking and you died a few different times. You're like, screw it. And you're just bumping every gun you have.
Frustration mode. That's another thing about apocalypse movies is like, the limited ammo that you have, and then gasoline only has like a shelf life of 3 years. So that always bothers me, is like, oh, well, we'll just siphon some gas from this car. That 20-year-old gasoline, that's not going to do anything for you.
No, he made a point to say that. He's like, yeah, we're not going to last long. He's going to keep doing this, stopping.
Well, yeah, of course. But like, 3 years into 20.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's all just, I have to dispend.
But they do take the bullet stuff into account. You know, he keeps telling her not to fire the weapon. Use your blade, and she did. Like, she was shooting her weapon at the beginning of that in the last episode. Then she switched to her blade later. She's like, oh yeah, save bullets, use the blade.
I did find it ironic that when they go to Kansas City and the road is blocked, the biggest thing that blocking it is a Sara Lee truck, and they indicated that Sara Lee was the brand that had the fungus in it. And I just thought it was really sad. So I was like, dang.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, wow. Well, and I hated that, like, he looked under the truck and it was just clear road right behind there. And it's like,
It was obviously a trap.
Yep.
They're trying to funnel people into the city.
Okay.
I just don't even know why, though. Like, I don't understand the purpose that you have your little pocket in Kansas City. Hey, if there's some straggler 20 years later, let's get them. Like, how many people are coming through?
Good. That one guy, Joel, came through and killed our guy, Brian.
He just has bad luck. That's what happens when you're a video game character. You have the worst luck.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Everything happens to you. And then one last point, just because we just saw episode 5. I felt like the end of it, I feel like Ellie should have told Henry about Sam. I thought it was really, like, I would have been pissed if I found out that the last hours I could have spent with my little brother, you knew and didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have time to think that. Instead, he didn't kill anybody his whole life, and then the one person he kills is his little brother that he sacrificed everything for. It was a horrible juxtaposition. It's horribly irony. But I just wish Ellie would have told him.
Do you think that Ellie honestly believed that her blood was medicine? That it was going to... Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is, like, she literally thought nothing's going to happen to you. Yeah, I can cure you.
It would have been nice to tell the brother.
Yeah.
So I can see that.
But if she told the brother, then Joel would have found out, and Joel would have went in there and shot him.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough.
But I don't know. I like the choice of making, because I heard that the kid wasn't deaf in the game, and they made that choice for the TV show. And it made it really effective in that scene, because if you remember, the clickers hear but can't see, but he can see but can't hear. So kind of the opposite of that. So she walks up on him, but he doesn't hear him. That's why he didn't turn around right away.
Yeah,
that was kind of a neat touch. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Ugh.
There you go. There's some. It's not a perfect show, but I think it's an enjoyable, worthwhile show that I've really enjoyed. So
absolutely,
the stuff that works well enough that anything that's kind of like nitpicky, I don't really care too much about, honestly.
I know, and I mean, when we sit here and nitpick, it's for the smallest things.
Right,
like
it really
is
science and absurdity of a zombie apocalypse.
Exactly.
I mean, you kind of have to check your brain that there's a zombie apocalypse at the start that somehow all happened in 24 hours. Like, this might happen over the course of maybe 2 years, but 24 hours, everybody, boom.
Yeah. Is everybody eating bread or Sara Lee products?
Uncooked Sara Lee products. They're just eating, like, drinking the flour down.
The plane. Oh my, the pilot sitting there just eating dough.
Yeah. He's just going into the bag. What are you doing there, buddy?
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And we do want to shout out to the bloater, just because that was an awesome sequence where he comes up and the dude shoots him and it doesn't matter at all. And then he rips his head out by the spinal column. It's just so good.
It was so good. It was a great moment.
That felt like another one of those like video game moments.
Oh, it's a very video game moment.
It's a tough video game thing to take down.
What's the Left 4 Dead? Have you guys ever played Left 4 Dead? That's how I was like, oh, that's one of the tanks from Left 4 Dead.
Exactly.
Like,
well, Left 4 Dead's one of the first ones that did classifications of zombies.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it
as a game, because you got to have those stronger zombies, the zombies that shoot stuff, the zombies that are big and
blow up.
Right.
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead.
If you classifications,
that game still holds up. So if you have not played that game, please go out and buy it. You can buy it for like $5, maybe.
Oh, easily.
It's so good. It's so
fun. Turn it
fun.
on for an hour or two if you're bored. It's great.
Oh, totally. Oh, the bridge scene. Yes.
Anyway.
Yep.
Shout out to the little girl clicker who is a contortionist and goes through the back window to chase Ellie.
Ooh.
And then Kathleen has her whole speech about kids die all the time, and fittingly a kid is the one that kills her.
Yeah.
Like, it was a little bit too on the nose. It was a little tightly scripted. It's like NFL could take clues on how to script something properly by watching Last of Us. But it was a little bit too heavy-handed, but I still appreciated it.
So not like the Super Bowl ending. I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can have a good tight script, man. You gotta keep the action and climax so people don't turn off right at the end.
Yep.
What a good hey guys, this was a good episode.
It's because we get to talk about something that's good.
There you go.
So
yeah, but sometimes we have a trouble talking about good things.
Good things are tougher.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
like
why we
watching
gotta
Leprechaun.
nitpick. Oh my god. Let's watch Leprechaun in the Hood then. Let's go back.
Back to the Hood.
Next week.
To the Hood.
No, St. Patrick's Day is coming up.
Oh no. Oh no, don't make us watch this. Don't do it. All right,
but
I'm done.
To everyone listening, that's just 1 through 5. We still got 6, 7, 8, and 9 to watch, so who knows what kind of clickers we're going to encounter. Are they going to make it to Wyoming? What's going to happen to Joel? Is Ellie actually a savior? Are we going to dive into Last of Us Part 2 of the video game? Who knows? Is the story in the show going to completely dissect at some point? Does Joel fate change? I don't know. We'll have to watch to find out, but we'll be watching right along with you. And until then, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you next time.
Prog out.
Fade to black.